y'all living? I'm Brother Syke, and welcome to the Strategies of Manhood. This channel is dedicated to giving you the information necessary for understanding the fundamental roles that a man is supposed to play in his lifetime. What we're going to give you is a series, because this video is the first in a series of videos explaining everything about a man from from the foundation of his basic philosophy and how he's supposed to view life, the roles that he must play in his lifetime, the responsibilities that he has to carry out, and even to the way a man deals with finances. What we're trying to build here is the king. That's what we're trying to build, a supreme man. So if you're a simple man and you're just happy being simple, this ain't for you. But if you want to be the supreme man, this is where you need to be at. So subscribe to the channel, share the information, and stay with us throughout the series. In the beginning, I'm going to start like this. I'm going to start with the foundational role of a man's thinking. To understand anything that anybody ever does in their life, you got to understand that they're motivated by something. There are drives that drive a person to do the activities that they commit. So what I'm going to start with is the 5 drives of a man. There are 5 things that drive a man's behavior. And if you want to research this information in greater detail, there are many beautiful books to check out. One of them is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. He breaks down these 5 drives in his book. Another one, well, matter of fact, you can read any introduction to business textbook, and it's going to give you these drives, explaining it from the point of view of the position of Abraham Maslow, the behavioral psychologist who broke down what was called a hierarchy of needs. So there are needs that must be fulfilled that's driving you to fulfill whatever it is you're trying to do, and we're generalizing in these 5 basic principles. So the 5 are this: survival, relationships, power, freedom, and fun. And what I'm going to do is I'm explain and break down all of them. First, we're going to start with survival. Survival is the first and most fundamental thing that a man is driven to fulfill in his lifetime. Matter of fact, I know that you've all heard that self-preservation is the first law of nature, because it is. Over all things, before anything else becomes a concern of yours, you want to preserve yourself. As a baby, look at a baby when a baby first comes out of the womb. The baby does not have to be taught how to eat. Just pop a nipple in the baby's mouth and the baby will eat automatically. All the basic things that will ensure your survival, the need for sleep, the need for eating, the need for wasting, comes naturally. These things are programmed into you because survival becomes an inherent part of the human makeup. Before civilizations was ever created, the human being had to fulfill their needs for survival. The human being had to make sure that they had food. They had to make sure that they had clothing, shelter, things in this nature. And once the basic survival needs had been taken care of, then people had the leisure to sit around and think and come up with ideals, and from those ideals became philosophies and religions, and then people built temples in order to teach that information from, in order to educate others in those ideas that they came up with. Then after that had been taken care of, people had built cities around those temples so they could have close proximity to that information. And therefore, you had your first births of cities and your first births of civilization. But first, the survival needs had to be taken care of. But when we understand survival, we understand that survival can be grasped from a mental point of view and from a physical point of view. On a physical level, it's very simple. To survive, you need food, water, clothing, and shelter. It's very simple. And food and water explains themselves. They're self-explanatory. Food and water gives you the energy needed in order to operate your human body. They're the fuel for you, but they also give you the nutrients and the vitamins necessary for cellular repair. Also, now we move to clothing. Clothing keeps you warm, and it hides your private parts. And then we go to shelter. Shelter gives you safety. It keeps you warm as well, and it protects you from the elements, but it also gives you safety. When you sleep, can't nobody just walk up on you. Can't nobody just attack you because you've been guarded by your shelter. But food, clothing, and shelter have philosophical concepts that come behind them too. On a mental level, food is the ideas, the concepts, and the knowledge that you put into your mind that nourish your thoughts, that give you greater information to make decisions from. Clothing represents character. Have you ever heard somebody say, man, he got all the way out of character? They talking about getting out of character as if it's something that you can take off like clothing. You ever read the story in the Bible, and I'm not being religious, I'm just dealing with the philosophy, the philosophical concepts from it. You ever read the story of Noah in the Bible? I think it's Genesis chapter 9, verse 20 through 24. If you read that story, it tells you that Noah built the ark, and after building the ark, Noah got drunk. And when he got drunk, he got naked. And then his son saw him and it cursed his son. Well, you got to understand the metaphor in this. It's not talking about him getting physically naked. Have you ever seen somebody get drunk and get all the way out of character, acting the way that they never behaved, and then you say, man, Junie showed her nakedness. You say this about her. It's not saying that she literally got naked, and sometimes they may have, but it's not saying that she literally got naked. But she got out of character. She left herself exposed because of being influenced by the alcohol, took out her right state of mind. And this is what happened in the story of Noah. So when his son saw him, it cursed his son. Why did it curse him? Because when someone looking up to you and they learning from you and they see you get out of character or display the improper conduct, then they will learn the improper conduct and therefore you will curse them. And it's not always a biological son. Sometimes it could be a philosophical son, somebody that you're birthing by teaching them knowledge. So that's what this story represented. So character in this story, in this sense, clothing represents character. When you in the proper character, you have the proper behavior, then proper behavior and proper character opens doors for you. But an improper character, if it's heard of even before you show up, can close doors for you. Matter of fact, if you're on fire, you can't even get pissed on. And last is shelter. From a philosophical point of view, shelter is the paradigm through which you view reality. Shelter is the wise wisdom that you cover your world with. So it protects you from the rain, snow, and the sleet of lies, deception, and miseducation. And so this is what survival can be understood from a philosophical point of view. Second is relationships, or we can call it love and belonging. The human being is a gregarious creature, and by nature, the human being seeks to be with others. Now, I know some of you out there talking about, I'm alone, I like to be alone, but think about this. When the human body was first developed and created and evolved on the planet, there was no such thing as an army, a military, or a police department. The human being was moving through the wilderness with groups of human beings. And the thing that kept the human being safe was being a part of that group. If you ever showed improper behavior and got kicked out of the group, then you were left to deal with the elements and the wilderness by yourself. You'll wake up one morning in the mouth of a pack of hyenas. So protection and survival was based on you being able to be a part of the group. That's why you feel some kind of way whenever people ostracize you now, or if others talk about you or make fun of you, because that natural instinct comes out of you to feel the need to be accepted. And it's something that most people don't want to go through, not feeling accepted. It's a primal desire. So that's what we have. We have a need for creating and developing relationships. Create the proper relationships. It'll help you to ensure your survival. Think about it. If you're sick, then the people in your relationships will take care of you. If you can't fight, then the people in your relationship will fight for you, or they will train you and teach you how to provide for your own basic needs. So this need for creating relationships and need for love and belonging can help us in many ways in ensuring our other basic needs. The third basic need is power. The first gift that the Creator gave the human being was dominion. It said the Creator gave the human being dominion over everything in the earth, everything on the land, and everything in the sea. So the first gift that you ever had was power. And any man wants to be in control and in power of his own situation. Any man, by having power, you're able to ensure the protection and defense of those in your relationships and the things that you have created for your own survival. If you don't have these things, then people more powerful than you can take these things from you if you don't have power. People more powerful than you, if they decide that they no longer want you to exist, you will cease to exist. In the book, there's two books I'm going to quote. Well, I'm not going to give a direct quote because I don't remember them verbatim. But in the book, Dreams from My Father by Barack Obama, he quoted his stepfather, a guy named Lolo, as telling him one time that men take advantage of weakness in men. They're like countries in that way. If a man is weak, the strong man will take the weak man's children and make them servants. If his wife is beautiful, they'll take her from him. So better to be a strong man than a weak man. And if you can't be strong, then it's better to be clever and make friends with a strong man. But much better to be a strong man yourself. And in a quote from the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, he quoted a debate between Athens and Milos when they had a debate with each other. And it said essentially that basically don't come to us talking about what's right, what's fair, what's just. You know as well as we do that justice depends on your or your power to propel, which basically means that justice will only come if you got the power to make people give you justice. So all men want to have power, want to have control over themselves and their immediate environment. Next is freedom. Because when you have power, then you're able to produce and create freedom for yourself. Freedom can be explained in three prerequisites: a free mind, a free body, and a free spirit. If you truly want to understand and delve deep into what freedom truly is. Because freedom is more than just doing what you want to do. Freedom has three prerequisites to it. First is a free mind. A free mind is not limited to superstition, false ideas, and whatever your mother or your grandmother taught you growing up. But a free mind is able to think logically and rationally, to take ideas, to weigh them on the scales of logic and reason, and then choose the things that makes the most sense, even if that means that you have to convert from one false idea into a better way of thinking. The free mind is able to do that. It is not limited and restricted to those things that it was raised to believe. Because sometimes in our life, you'll start to realize that the people that love us the most was the greatest mental slaves. And sometimes they will pass down false ideas to you that you do not need to practice or believe in. Secondly, you have a free body. Now, free body can be explained in these different ways. First of all, you don't want to be restricted. You don't want to be in chains. So a unfree body is one that's a slave, or one that's in prison. If you're in prison, then other people have the ability to control and limit your ability of movement. But also, not having a free body means to be sick or frail in a way that doesn't allow you to move the way you would if you had a fully healthy body. So it's very important for you to work out and eat properly. But also a limitation to your freedom is your lack of finances. If you find yourself in a position where you don't have proper finances, then you'll be in a position where you can't maneuver the world the way you would like to or would love to. So it's very important to understand that you have to have free finances. In the song, the rapper Rick Ross explained this beautifully in a lyric. He said, "Have you ever made love to the woman of your dreams in a room full of money out in London as she screams?" Now think about the picture that he's painting for you. He said, the woman of your dreams, not just any woman that can have you. The room full of money represents having no financial care in the world. And the man is in London, not down the street at the motel. He's on a whole nother continent sexing a woman down. So he's explaining the vision and the view of a man with no financial lack. So that's part of how you have a physical freedom or a free body. And third, when we're dealing with freedom, we have to deal with a free spirit. Now, spirit can be explained as your particular mood. In ancient times, they believed that spirit was the animating principle inside of a human being that gave them strength and power. Spirit comes from the Latin spiritus, which literally means breath. So it's the breath of life that's in a man. And if you understand about having an unfree spirit, then anything that depresses your spirit, that puts you in a poor and sad and sullen mood, takes away your spiritual freedom. So you don't want to allow anything to restrict your ability to move and operate. Anything, if your happiness and your ability to feel spiritually free depends on anything outside the self, like some type of material gain, a vehicle, anything like that, or some person being a part of your life, then you're not truly spiritually free, and you're not truly happy, because happiness, true happiness, comes from being satisfied within our own self. Next, and last and least, is fun. The last thing, or the last drive that I believe that you're supposed to focus your attention on is fun. For most people, though, it's the first drive. It's the first thing that they focus on, because this is a strong drive. The human being evolved the desire to seek pleasure and avoid pain for survival purposes. If you was to step on some glass or attack without even seeing what it is or thinking about it, the sharp pain will make you automatically react and jump away from it. So it's a natural part of who we are as human beings. And you automatically want to participate in pleasure. But the problem with that drive is so strong that it could make you overindulge. You can overindulge in ice cream, cake, and things like that and become obese. You can avoid things that may be painful or uncomfortable for you, and those are the things that will help you move to the next stage and the next level of your life. So we want to have fun, But we don't want to allow fun to become our primary drive, because if you do that, you're thinking on the level of a child. And those who have thought and focused on power, focus on freedom, focus on survival, focus on relationships more than you have, will be in a more powerful position than you, and therefore be in a greater position to have way more fun than you had. So understand this. Life is a beautiful struggle, and we're all trying to fulfill these drives. And you're supposed to have fun in the process, but don't lose your freedom chasing out the fun. Peace. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If y'all enjoyed this, I want you to hit the like button down below. I want you to subscribe to the channel, because we have more coming for you. And I want you to share this information to as many people as possible. Peace, and enjoy your day.